Welcome at today's episode of Allo Lebanon, a podcast about the Lebanese political and economic crisis. I am Vera Obeid, and our guests today are the members of Lebanese Red Cross, the old members who served their duty during the civil war. We have Karl Keyrouz, Hasib Lahout, Joseph Dahan, Nabil Matou, and Jean Bet with us. So, guys, can you tell us a little bit more about your duty during the Lebanese civil war in the Red Cross?
And who should start now?
Whoever wants.
Okay.
The youngest.
I'm the youngest, so I'll start. I'm Joseph Dahan. Today I'm 53. When I joined the Red Cross, I was 18. At that particular time, we had no choice. Either we joined the militia forces back in the 80s, or if we don't want to go into war and carry weapons, we had to join other groups, which are the Red Cross. Therefore, we have served from 1985 till 1991, when the war ended. And we have served Lebanon and the region where we served, which is Beirut, the east side of Beirut, during that particular time. And we have witnessed lots of atrocities, and we have learned lots of things. What I can tell you today is we still believe in Lebanon. Lebanon can be good again. It's a question of democracy. If democracy is able to change the political sides, then yes, Lebanon has a future. Otherwise, unfortunately, we're going down more and more again.
Lebanon is a phoenix. So during the many decades, Lebanon has had many issues, wars and destructions, or even natural disasters, and then total destructions, and then it rose again. So Lebanon, despite all what we're going through, will rise. And as a proof for us as living, what we did during the Red Cross, we witnessed all the let's call them atrocities during the war, but then after the war we had excellent years of recovery, and then excellent years of tourism, economic improvements, even big companies came back to Lebanon to open their headquarters, but it's a cycle that is not going. Back to the Red Cross, I think we had an excellent team. We're all volunteers, by the way. No one's paid. We were all students.
Why is it so important, the Red Cross in Lebanon?
Because,
function of Red Cross.
Yeah, because it replaced, if you want, there's no preset paramedics services in Lebanon, and the Red Cross filled this gap. And the impartiality value of the Red Cross allowed us to cross from one region to another, despite the religion.
The neutrality as well.
Neutrality exactly allowed us to cross from an area from an area to another, cross checkpoints, cross borders, internal borders of the country during the war that were artificially created because of the belligerent and the militias.
But it took some time in order to gain this situation. I think that at the beginning, not everybody believed that the Lebanese Red Cross is going to play a neutral and impartial role. It took us some time to prove ourselves. From maybe 1975 up to the beginning of the 90s, I think that the perception became so positive. I remember very well that some of the belligerent were accusing us of being partial, if you remember that, Nabil. Maybe in the early 90s it happened. You remember that?
My first mission actually was when I crossed. I was maybe 2 months in the Red Cross, and we had to cross from East Beirut to West Beirut in a Red Cross vehicle. 2 people, and the sniper was shooting at us to scare us. And the checkpoints were giving us hell to cross. And with time, things have improved, and we became priority at any checkpoint, any party, whether local or foreigner, because unfortunately we had a lot of foreigners fighting in our country here. The Red Cross became reputed, and we were allowed to cross from one area to the other. What?
Yeah, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the life cycle of a member of the Lebanese Red Cross back then in the 80s, and then now in the 2021 area. I believe that some of us here are from the newer generation and they have given their opinion. I think it's much more difficult now to spend years at the Red Cross as a volunteer than it was before. Although the period was more difficult, more sacrifice had to be done, but it was easiest to be a volunteer because we had no other things to do. We had no options. So I really salute the volunteers that are now active and they're going beyond 2, 3, 4 years of volunteering because they have so many things around them that attracts them to do something else, to travel, to do funny things, to learn, to go and get education. We did all this time and we had the opportunity to stay much more longer because we had really nothing else to do.
And this brings me back to talk why we had to play this role. Well, because in Lebanon, to make it clear that there was no public or paramedic services, and I believe this is very unique in the world where the Red Cross have first aiders team, and this is what helped us to feel like we are useful. So when we really risked our lives to serve people, to help people in need, so we felt like we are doing something to support the Lebanese people living under the difficult circumstances. And this is, I think, something that the new generation, they are again feeling it when they are supporting now, especially with what happened in Lebanon lately in August, the big explosion that happened and how many people they were impacted by this explosion. The new generation, and I think that our friends, they can confirm now that again, they are playing the same role of being kind of support and help for the people in need.
But though the role changed. I mean, I think during the war, what we had, all the people around this table have spent 9 to 10 years as volunteers. And as Hasib was saying, the life cycle has shortened because of the pace of life and because of the change of the whole, let's call it socioeconomic climate and political climate and all this. For us, 10 years, what we went through was a series of situations: peace, war, explosions, invasions, disasters, boats, for instance, sinking. You can name it, a lot of things. And this gave us a lot of not only experience, but a lot of exposure also and devotion to stay in the Red Cross. Because we felt, the more we were there, the more we felt that we were needed and we wanted to give more of ourselves. Today, when I say today, I mean 2 years ago when I came back to the country, when I came back to the country, the first thing that I was contacted for was to go back to the Red Cross and create again the experience that we lived and teach it to the new generation, because the new generation did not go through what we were going. There was a fear that Lebanon would explode again. There would start explosions of cars and booby traps and all this. So what we did, We came back, we had training sessions for those people and workshops. And then from there, we came with a decision that, hey, we need maybe 20 or 30 veterans, let's call them like us, to come back to the Red Cross and be in the ambulances with this young generation to pass on first the experience in terms of
But Nabil,
war
the
and
new
all this,
generation, they digested the idea. They got what you were trying
This
to
is
do.
the challenge. This is the challenge.
Well, let me tell you, I mean, the example, we did the workshop, and then the need was there. They expressed the need to learn more. When we came with the idea of bringing the veterans, the idea was to put the veterans for 6 months only as volunteers to support. Both parties, the old generation and the young generation, asked to continue this experience again another 6 months. Did it succeed? It succeeded to a certain extent, yes. First of all, it showed the devotion we had, which is still in our blood now that we are 30 years after we were first aiders. Second, it showed the bonding that we have with the center we were at. And third, it showed them also the experience we gave them from the war, but we learned a lot also from them in the new ways of doing things.
To take it from there, I would tend to totally agree with Nabil, and I would add that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Would you do it again? Would you do it again?
The best days of my life were the days of
memories.
the war.
These are memories.
No.
Would
Not
you do
only
it again?
memories. Not only memories. For me, these were the best days of my life.
Yes, because they are memories.
No.
Bala, they are memories in the back of your head. Would you do it again now?
100%.
We did it when we went back in the ambulances.
100%. And what I'm trying to say here, because it didn't kill us during the war, nearly all of us, succeeded in life after that because we learned a lot. So I would tend to say, so what happened on August...
I would point out that all of you are in all different fields.
Absolutely. And we're doing okay. We're doing better than okay? So what I'm saying here is, August 4, the bomb or the explosion of the port, will definitely makes the Lebanese stronger, because they will learn more and they will learn how to adapt more. So what we learned on our expenses back in the 80s, the new generation today are learning the same thing, but on their expenses now.
In condensed way.
Absolutely.
Let me here tell you what happened, because Hasib asked a very good point. Would you repeat it? August 4 was the explosion. Let me go back a bit. 4 of us here, at least, are still involved in the Red Cross till now, because and we're involved in the Red Cross not anymore in the first aid. All of us have more than 10 years of experience during the Red Cross, during the war at the Red Cross as first aiders. And then after we came back to Lebanon, we came back and we reintegrated the Red Cross as part of the Beirut committee, which is the committee that is responsible for the first aid, for the blood transfusion centers, for the youth section, for socio-medical and all this. On 4th of August, when the explosion hit Lebanon at 6:04 in the evening, I think, second day, we were on the rooftop of the Red Cross building, which was, let's say, 60% destroyed. We were on the rooftop, 4 people, discussing what is our strategy to do a Beirut disaster management in this situation. We were working on a plan that we put in place thanks to our experience that we had during the war, but also thanks to our managerial experience in our businesses.
Even though you are not involved in Beirut municipality or anything.
Not at all. We replaced, all NGOs replaced, or even people who are not NGOs created their own non-official NGOs and replaced. So in our capacity as Red Cross, what we did, we prepared this plan, which is the emergency disaster plan for Beirut, in order to support. And then we went to the headquarters in Beirut and we sat down there and we prepared a whole plan for the relief help of the Beirutis in the area that was destroyed. All this to say that the devotion never stops. The belief in helping people is still there. The experience we had from the Red Cross and from our businesses and from our lives are tremendous and are inciting us to continue helping. And we think that this is something that will remain in our veins, as we say.
What are the main learnings?
Okay, let me tell you this on the learning side. After the explosion, 3 or 4 days after the explosion, when we finished getting all the wounded people and the dead people out of the streets, Beirut committee prepared a team, a squad team, to learn what to do in case this happens again. So we have created a team of 5 or 6 people to start thinking ahead of time, what if this happens again? Because it was total chaos. We knew we were not ready. Not the Red Cross, not the government, not any NGO was ready to do this. So as of September 10th or September 15th or whatever, or August 10th or 15th, there was a team working on a plan that if this thing or something similar happens again, what should we do? And this you cannot find at the government. So what I can tell you here today, we as individual and part of the Red Cross are trying to take the role of the government here and start thinking ahead of time just to prepare ourselves, because nobody else can do that. We, with an experience of the Red Cross and with our professional experience, it's a personal initiative that we took to start working for Beirut.
Let me take you back to your nickname, Pepe. And this will reply back to what Sibo was asking if we will do it again. And
Can you tell us what this story of nickname is?
Yeah, because we used to communicate between each other, between the centers and between the cars on missions using the VHF. And for security reason, we had to not use our private names because it's a public connection. So whoever can interfere and take your personal name. So it was standards or a basics of communication where you don't communicate with your... but the funny part is how we pick our names. The best step, and this is what was creating the bonding, because we knew each other very well. That's why each one of us has a very special name, like our friend Nabil. And the Red Cross life is not Nabil, he's Scooby-Doo, and he has definitely a story behind it. So going back to, really, it's an interesting question that Hasib raised, that do we do it again? I don't have an answer why I did it before. Probably it is the devotion. So I don't have an answer if I'll do it again. But deep inside me, I feel nothing will stop me. Because I didn't think about it first. I'll never think about it. So whenever there is someone in need or a community in need that we can help, probably I'll be there again on the streets.
But I can tell you my experience. We did it again. I mean, we came back, as I said. First thing they asked that is support with preparing the new generation in team leadership, in management, and all this. Second, we went into preparing as I said, the old veterans coming again and doing it. And then we got into the hub after the explosion.
And you are still involved, Nabil.
Yes.
As you are trying to help raise money for to support Lebanese Red Cross.
Hasib was he raised a lot of money to support the construction of the buildings. So maybe you talk about it, because our building was, as I said, 60 to 70%.
I would love Nabil to tell us his experience when his son joined the Red Cross.
The other Nabil.
The other Nabil.
We are two on the table.
There are two Nabil on the table. Well, I used, when my child was very young, we used to go down to visit the Red Cross. So he liked to be inside, and he joined. When he was 17 old, he joined the Red Cross the same sector that I used to, the same station I used to be in. I used to be. He joined on. He's now for 5 years volunteer now, and has a very similar path.
Tell us what happened on August 4th.
On
You were
August 4th,
together at the house,
yes.
you and your son. What happened? What did you say to do? What did you tell your son?
Well, we were in the house, and it was a big explosion. We thought it was in the house. It was so strong. So first thing we see if anyone in the house was okay. We go down to the street. It was all destruction and everything. So I told him first thing, go join the station. I will stay here to take care of the building, of the neighbors, of the family, of anything. You go and join the Red Cross station now. So he went. He ran. It was maybe 5 minutes later. He arrived to the station. He was the first aider to arrive, and he stayed maybe for 24 hours without stop to finish his missions. And I stay in my house and to try to help the people, our neighbors. We have our neighbors kids, parents were not at home. So we bring the kid in our home. We begin to see all the damages of the house and everything. And it was a lot of...
We had many explosions during our Red Cross years. But it was never to this magnitude. Yani I've been to the explosion of the Marines. I've been to the explosion of the French Legionnaire. I've been to the explosions in the streets of our neighborhood. They were big, but nothing to compare with this August 4th. So what we're saying is that the talking about the new generation, what they're living, as I said, they're living condensed things that we lived because they have the COVID-19, they have the political instability. We had the Thawra, what we call the revolution in Lebanon, and the explosion. All together, you're talking about what? Maybe a year, which is for us was over 16 years or 10 years or 15 years of war, but we lived 10 years. So we had peace, war, then peace, then war. Those guys, they lived one complete year of new types of emergency.
They have all our experience in 10 years in 1 year.
Yeah.
Can I say something about that explosion? I don't think back then we were considering ourselves prepared. I don't think back then, if such an explosion would have happened, we would have considered ourselves prepared for this.
No one can be prepared for such an explosion. It was too big.
Guys, it
With all our experience back
No
then,
one can
we would not
be
have not
prepared
coped
for
with
this.
this.
No one.
The
No one.
scale is
No one.
huge. This reminds me something I think we all lived sitting here around the table, which was when the Pope visited Lebanon. And as a Red Cross, we were in charge of paramedic support during the visit. There was 750,000 people attending. We were called, I remember, like 250 maximum volunteers, first aiders, with let's say 20 ambulance. When I arrived to the place where the Pope was having the mass and I looked at the people, I said, no way. With all the preparation, we spent at least 72 hours planning with maps, all the details to the single pin. When I saw the scale of the event, I said, I wish I would pray that nothing will happen because it's going to be chaos with all the preparation. And I believe on the 1st of August, same, with all the preparation, all the how much I trust the Red Cross, I don't believe someone can really act properly or be able to serve during such a scale. At personal level, yes, they can help, but to take over the presence of a public service that the government doesn't have, we cannot cover it.
There's no more hospitals, no more roads. It was hell.
No, but going back, what is good about my feeling with your son Nabil taking over, I really feel very comfortable feeling the continuity is happening.
Yes.
And I'm dreaming that my kids, after another 15 years, they will join again. Hope in the different situations.
I think it is worth mentioning also that we had the martyrs among us. I mean, people, first aiders who died with us. So we had, I don't recall very well the years, I think in 1982, I was new. We had the head of the center who passed away while trying to help or trying to check if people were stuck in a fire, in a bookshop fire under the ground, and he passed away there. And then in 1984, we had two colleagues, one who passed away directly shot by the militia when he was in a mission to evacuate an injured civilian, and the militia saw that this is an ambulance. They saw him with the Red Cross label on his uniform and all this, and despite this, he got shot and he got killed. Another guy got hit, injured, and the third was intact, but he took care of the injured. A third guy died. He was at the AUB, American University of Beirut, came to the center. We were there. So we were having an advanced post at the frontier. He passed by us. He went to see the center, check if everything's okay. He had two German ladies with him, students, and then he wanted to take the ladies to safety and to his place, which is 200 meters away from us. So he crossed again the advanced post we were at, and then while walking, a bomb fell on him in front of, I saw the bomb, how it hit him, and I think I was with Jean Zorigian at that time, we were both of us, and the bomb threw us inside the building, but then I think we counted till 10 because cars were burned and a lot of destruction around us. We counted till 10, I think, or 15, and then we went immediately to see him. He and the other two ladies were badly hit and died on the spot. So this is a sad story, but we have a lot of very nice stories, which is our training together, our outings together, our missions that we laugh about now. When I say missions, meaning going peacetime and everything. And the bond is still till now. Look, we're here all together and having a drink now and having this podcast because we're still in touch together.
Pepe, you were mentioning learnings at the organizational level. What would you say about the main learnings about at the personal level? The main learnings from Red Cross.
The Red Cross. Let's talk about our sector, which is the Beirut sector. Okay, 90%, not to say more, 90% of the people who joined the first aid, at least during our time, I don't know now, but they were all educated people, university graduates or university students, looking nothing but to serve. This gives you an indication of these guys who are willing to go forward in life. And I think the government should take lessons from recruitments like we did in our time. They should recruit the right people for the right jobs. We had tons and thousands of people applying to join the Red Cross first aid teams. We did not take them all. We had to take them to be at a certain level mentally and physically. Mentally first, physically comes second.
Adding to that, I can bet that now most of the corporates, they don't have the recruitment process that we had to filter the guys that we need to make sure that are among us. We needed to make sure that they're not politically affiliated. We needed to make sure they don't have any militia background. So it was really a learning process for me. Now, after like 30 years of corporate life, I'm still probably comparing what I'm doing now in the beginning of my life when I was recruiting and I was young. So we did the same process. So we took it so seriously. We are known as Lebanese. We are not punctual. We don't arrive on time. Okay. For the Red Cross, we started our shift, let's say at 6 p.m. and we were always at 6 p.m. available, because we know that if it is 6 and we are not there and someone is in need, it is our responsibility. So we were really, as volunteer, the most responsible people and strict on the basics, and we were putting the rules on ourselves. This is one of the biggest learning I believe we all had.
A lot of learning also you have is when you're at the Red Cross, you have to take decisions fast. You have to lead people who are volunteers if you become a team leader. So this is management of volunteers, and the volunteer can tell you at any time, thank you, bye-bye, I'm leaving home, I don't want to continue with you. So you have to keep people motivated, at the same time under strict rules of doing, of performing and working during peacetime and wartime. And then you also learn how to deal with and negotiate with belligerent parties, meaning checkpoints, militias, hospitals.
And to continue on this,
Any type of NGOs you want.
when you choose a wrong successor,
Exactly, I was going
it's
to
a
talk
problem.
about this.
It's a problem. Like our friend Nabil Matu, he chose a wrong person to succeed him. He frustrated lots of people, isn't it, Nabil?
One of them is Pepe, who's among us. No, but really, I would love to share the best experience. And thanks to Nabil sitting with us now, we are all alive. Nabil Scooby-Doo, not our other friend Nabil. That one morning during the wartime, we were all sleeping in the Red Cross center. And I believe all of us here around this table, we were sleeping in the center. In one room, there was 11 volunteer first aiders sleeping. And Nabil woke up at 6 a.m., pushing us all to go to the shelter that we prepared, because he felt that something bad is going to start. And we started hearing the bombing. And he kept on...
Get an inside information.
And he kept on pushing and pushing, and definitely we hated him. We had to get up, all of us, at 6 a.m. and start running. And 30 minutes later, the room was hit, and he really saved our lives.
Not me. Anyway, that was one. Nice ending. Let's put it this way. So bottom line, I think, as you see, we're devoted. It's still in our veins. Whenever there's any issue in the Red Cross, we receive phone calls, and we have people calling us and saying, please come over, you need to help us in this. So not only in August 4, so we had some other things to support with, which is fundraising events. So we did 2 huge fundraising to bring money, and that was in 2000, when I came back, 2011, 2012, something like this. We did huge events in the Beirut committee for 600 people, the elite people of Beirut, to buy tickets and come for a fundraising event. And this money was then taken to be used in this public service that the Red Cross does in Beirut.
Is there any way our listeners can support Lebanese Red Cross?
There is, for sure. There is a way, which is to get in touch with you, because you can. There's a website for the Lebanese Red Cross. There's an application whereby they can put as little as $5 a month if they want, and it becomes automatic withdrawal, which we encourage a lot of people to do. Or they can do by contacting us in person, and then we get them for sure in touch with the Beirut committee. We give them all the bank accounts of the Lebanese Red Cross Beirut committee account, so where they can transfer to the bank the whatever
Any
amount
donations.
they want, the donation, and they get for sure confirmation and receipts and thank you letters from the Red Cross.
I want to add one thing also. It's very important for new generation to have such an experience. It's very well noted for a CV, for example, if one is recruiting someone in a corporate or something, if you see experience in the Red Cross, it's a plus for him. It's definitely a plus. So we strongly advise anyone, if you want to join us, it will help him in his life.
Yeah, this is I wanted to add also, like more than support and money, probably volunteering can help a lot, especially
Special program. It's
yes,
more than money.
No, you cannot.
exactly.
You cannot.
Like twin activities with particular Red Cross in Europe or wherever. They take the Beirut sector or other sectors. They call it in French jumelage. So they extend their knowledge to each other. These kind of things, I think.
This has to be a Red Cross to
No,
Red Cross.
you cannot be admitted in any university now if you don't have in your CV any community volunteering work. And it's better to be in the Red Cross.
And the Lebanese Red Cross
In particular, Beirut sector.
with this gang.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. So after listening to the old members of Lebanese Red Cross, we have a representative of a new generation, who is Karl Keyrouz here with us, a son of one of the old members. Karl, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your duty at Red Cross, Lebanese Red Cross, and how, in your eyes, it changed compared to your father's times?
Okay, so first of all, my name is Karl Keyrouz. I'm 22 years old. I'm a medical student. I'm a fifth year medical student, and I'm an EMT at the Lebanese Red Cross since 2016. So my experience with the Red Cross is very deep, if I can say that, because I was introduced to Red Cross since I was born. So my dad and all his friends were the Red Cross, so it was natural to me to enter this organization. And I tried to enter the Red Cross at 16 or 15, but my father refused. He told me, you have to find a university and then you will go to Red Cross. So I found a university, I got accepted to medical school, and I went directly to the sector of Gemmaise to enter the Red Cross. So it has changed a lot, but the spirit is the same. What I'm saying about that? I'm saying that the spirit of the old generation is the same, and we call it l'esprit of our sector. So the spirit of our sector is very known for everything that is specific to us, and I'm sure that my predecessors will talk way more better about it. But basically, our duties now are not the same. Before it was more for wartime, it was more for critical times, and now it's more for everyday lifetime and everyday routine. So when we go when we're dispatched to a 78-year-old female here at Kermel Zaytoun, and we have to do something, we know what to do because we are so much trained, and all the protocols that we have now are not the same since my father's protocol. And when, for example, I said to him that we don't use CPR the same way, or we don't use the same mask, he told me, why? I'm used to do this thing. It was very, very effective. But when I grew in the Lebanese Red Cross, I saw that everything we did was for the same purpose. So that's the main goal. And that's the main thing that motivates us. It's the purpose, it's the patient, and it's not the protocols or everything we do. It's the intention that you put in it.
Okay, now on August 4, during the port blast, I think it was a real trial for Lebanese Red Cross. Have you been on duty? Do you have any memories of this blast?
So the day of the blast, the day before the blast, I was at the station. It was my duty. So I went to my duty. I came back after duty to home. I came back at 4 p.m. So I was literally 2 hours before the blast. I came home to have a small siesta,
Break.
small break. Thanks. So to have a small break before going back to the sector. So to the station. So I wake up in a different way than expected, and my alarm never rang because I was woke up by the blast. So I was at home, and the first thing that I did was to check out on my family. My dad was at home, so he knew what to do. It was like all our instinct were coming back on the surface. So it was not. I wouldn't say it was easy, but it was like we are so used to that. Even me, I never experienced a blast before. I never experienced emergencies of that level. It was like an instinct. So the first thing I did was I took my dossard, which is my dossard.
Backpack?
No, my dossard. It's not a uniform. So okay, I took half of my uniform and I ran to the station. And then when I entered the station was completely destroyed. We are at Jemaise, so it's really, I don't know, 200 meters away of Muhim. So when I entered the station, I couldn't find an EMT. I couldn't find a friend. I couldn't find a living soul. So the first thing I did was to check if there is somebody to talk to, but there was nobody. So I tried to reach them. Nobody answered, and I began to prepare the response of the station. When I began to take some PPE, some gloves, some masks, some bandages to treat people, they begin to arrive. First, it was an old rescuer, so he came progressively with everybody. So it was easier when we were numbered. So we began to treat people on a parking spot, and we were like at the beginning 5 rescuers for thousands of people. And the rescuers that were at the station evacuated because the station was very badly.
Was it clear at the
destroyed.
beginning when the blast happened? Was it clear at the beginning for you how huge the magnitude is? Or?
No. I was at my home is like 3 roads higher than Jemaise. So when I heard the blast, I told to my dad, "Pap, نزل على المركز." قال لي نزال. So the first thing I said to him, "I'm going." He said me, "Go." I went to the Americas, to the station, and I didn't knew it was at like 6 o'clock.
Yes.
So I knew that it was a blast at the port at like 9 p.m. because I was so taken by the people, by the bodies, by everything that I couldn't care about what did that.
About the news.
No, I didn't. Even my phone, I didn't check my phone. You know, my mom was calling me. My friends were calling me. I have some friends that called me. Karl, please. All my family is covered of blood. Come take me. Come take me. So it was really instinctive. That's the thing that was bizarre and helpful at the same time. It's like I had all this background in my genes, and my predecessors' instincts came in my blood flow. So I didn't have the time to think. I didn't have the time to think about
What are the
to be
protocols?
sad. Yes, the only thing we did was one bandage, another. That it was really, really, really instinctful, if I can say that.
Instinctive.
Instinctive. Yes, it's better.
What are the main learnings
The main learnings.
from Lebanese Red Cross?
Okay, so first of all, as a medical student, it's very helpful. It's very helpful for my everyday practice, and as a man, it was also very helpful because first of all, I trained to train people, I trained to help people, I trained to talk with people. So when I entered the sector, I was 17, 18, and now I'm 22, 23. I'm a full-grown man, and I couldn't wish for a more experience, for a more rich experience than that. I know so much friends that went to scoot or went to any kind of social activity, but there is nothing like the Red Cross experience that we have. I saw so much miserable situations other than mine that whenever I will be, wherever I will be, and whatever will be my future situation, I will know that I saw way worse, and I saw thing that can help me in any field.
And what are your future plans
Future-
regarding all the political and economic crisis in Lebanon?
The future here in Lebanon is very uncertain. So my brother went to UK. All my friends that I had in school, we were a group of 13 best friends in school, and now I'm alone. All my friends of school went, and all my friends of university now, we aren't even graduated from med school, and they already left to continue their med school
Abroad.
yes, in Belgium and France. So I lost so many friends to immigration, and I'm feeling like I'm the only one that is still here. But it's very rewarding to know that when they come, I'm the only one that can make them visit the updates of the city. So every time they come, I take them for a tour, and the guys, here was the place that we used to go, and now it's collapsed because of the blast, and the thing that is weird about it is that we laugh about that. We are never sad that it's like that. So it happened. Let's build a better.
Let's move forward.
Let's move forward. But my friends that left are not from this particular mindset. They are more like, I'm leaving for my own benefit, and now I want to live my own life, and that's the case of so many friends.
Do you think some of them are willing to come back?
It's a very tricky question because my brother, for example, want to come back, and my friends that are doing med school abroad want to come back, but will they come back? I don't think so. My dad's generation saw so much people that went and came back that I don't think that my generation will do the same mistake, and the guys that are leaving now may never come back, and that's what's worse than before. Is that before they said, no, it's the civil war, we'll go and come back after the civil war, and that's what they did. And now there is no civil war, there is no instability of war, but the instability in social or economical is so uncertain that I can't answer this question more than that.
Thank you, Karl. Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
joining our podcast. You were listening to Allo Lebanon. I am Vera Obeid, and this podcast was brought to you by Lynn and Leah Obeid as well.